Welcome to Suppose, where authors discuss the extraordinary. I'm James V. Hassell,
And I'm Sarah Jaune.
and we are from wearetheapex.com. And this week we're discussing Suppose there's a hidden meaning behind vampires,
Mm-hmm.
which is an disingenuous question because there is a
There's
hidden
a
meaning.
hidden meaning behind it.
And
Mm-hmm.
if there isn't a hidden meaning, then we would attach one to it because we're humans and that's what we do.
Yes.
There was a solar eclipse, and everyone attached a meaning to it except for people who understand solar eclipses.
Yes.
But yeah, vampires, I thought that'd be an interesting one.
Okay.
Probably
That's a good
also,
time of year for it.
yeah, probably one that'll get everyone in trouble who chimes in.
Woo.
Because when you think about it, when you go down to the base, where it's just like a bloodsucker that ends up turning you into what it is, you can attach that to a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things,
You really can. Yes.
especially other people.
Yeah, I would say my obvious one would be partners or family or parent and child.
Mm. Oh,
You
yeah.
know, where your and your neuroses
Mm.
snap the life out of anybody and changing them into just as big of neurotic freaks as you are.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
That is a good one. It also applies heavily into your current project, I might add.
It does. Yes, it does. I think I made one of the teachers a vampire
Yeah.
because I thought that was very appropriate.
Yes, it
And
really,
I love
really
teachers.
was.
It's not that. It's just
No,
that,
yeah.
like, if you're in a job that you hate, you will just start sucking the life out of everybody around you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've had my fair share of vampiric teachers.
Okay.
I've,
Fun.
I had a couple good ones, but I had a lot of vampires in my life.
I had a lot of really great teachers, and then some that were just terrible, but
Mm.
I mean, I think as an overall comment on society, if you're not happy with your job, you are going to be a leech. So,
Yeah, that also applies to like the overbearing boss of anything or the
hmm
micromanager who wants you to go their way every single time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Now, see, that's not even the first place I go with it. The first place I go with it would be like the leeching friend.
Mm,
You know,
okay.
the one who always needs a favor and will bleed you dry until you need to bleed someone else dry to sustain yourself.
Now, tell me when you have run into that situation, because that sounds like it's a personal thing here.
Uh, I haven't really had it. I'm kind of tenacious about cutting people out of my life that I don't want in there. But I've had a few family members who fit the bill. And
Yeah,
while they didn't do it to me because I don't play that game,
yeah.
I
No,
watched
you don't.
I watched them do it to others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just from the town I'm in, it's a very consistent theme.
Huh. Okay.
It's a poverty-stricken town, very high crime rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that this kind of behavior between friends could be in any sort of situation.
Oh, I
Um,
agree. I think it's just a personality type.
I've seen friends who were more well off,
Hmm.
people um, taking advantage of them, trying to get them to pay for stuff,
Yes.
like it was owed to them,
Hmm. I've seen that a
which
lot.
is an interesting commentary on our current social situation.
It really, really is. And it always doesn't even have to be money, it can be time.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of emotional vampires around who they really need you around when they have a problem. But when you have a problem, it's like, okay, deal with it.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait, yesterday I listened to you for 3 hours bitch and moan and then offered you solid advice. And now I ask for the same and you're like, deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this weird, um, relationship with this. As somebody who's extraordinarily empathic, it's very difficult for me to be around some people because
Mm,
they will just leech me dry.
yes.
As I've gotten older, and gotten wiser. And I don't have this perfected, because even as recently as 6 months ago, I was having problems with it with somebody. But as I have gotten older, I have just distanced myself from people, and I just don't expect anything from them.
Mm.
People
No, I'm completely
I
the
ever
same way.
ask for emotional, I know that I'm going to have reciprocity,
Mm.
and I just don't. I don't. And it's somebody who wants my time or attention, I either give it because I have it with the expectation that it will never be returned, or I don't. And most of the time I'm good because my life is really even and stable. I can just sit and listen, and it's not a big deal. So, I've been good with that. But yeah, I did struggle with that when I was younger.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do when they're younger, just because experience. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know well enough in your early 20s to know who to get rid of and who to keep around.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. And you don't even have to get rid of them. It's not even that. It's just that you have to have boundaries up. You have to be, and I think that's where the vampire thing actually comes back in, because, if you have, say, garlic around your neck as a ludicrous analogy for a boundary,
Which,
like,
speaking of, that didn't even work in the first book.
didn't it? See, I
Brown,
never
no.
read the book.
I was refreshing on it today in Bram Stoker's Dracula. They did the garlic around the neck, and it came down to the excuse of either it was tossed off during her sleep or like the mom had taken it off, but it didn't stop shit.
No. Did the cross work?
uh, Not really. He
Okay.
he put the cross on the corpse to delay the vampirification. Is that a word?
I don't know.
The
Sounds good.
the changing into a vampire.
We're creating verbs here.
But the servant had stolen the cross off her lips, so don't know if that would have worked or not.
Okay.
Evidently, the source material has a lot of things that they tried that didn't work that ended up working for every other derivative of the genre.
Well, I mean, it's not exactly source material because it's fiction, but
I mean, if you're the
I get what you're
prototype,
saying. Fair enough. If you created it, if you invented it, you get to set the rules.
yeah, or you should
So.
be able to. We'll dig into that in a little bit.
Hmm.
I really dislike the rules being changed on vampires.
Apparently.
It's
Or I'm
not
just like,
good.
whatever.
Yeah, everyone else was like, "Yeah, they sparkle now." I'm like, "I will stake you all myself." It's
Uh-huh.
not good.
I did
Well,
not like the sparkly thing. That was kind of freaky.
we'll see that. I guess we could just dive into it now because
Sure.
I'll skip a metric shit ton of vampire lore to get to one of the most recent iterations, which would be Twilight.
Uh-huh.
And if we're going with allegory or symbolism, I
Hmm.
I don't know what they represented.
The vampires,
Yes,
they represented, um,
apart from Bad Boy.
yeah, it wasn't, it was like, somebody said the statistic is that most of the porn women search for is like, um for vampires and uh
No, I get the
like men that will dominate them.
yeah, I get the
And
archetype of romance
so I think
novels
it's
being
no, but I think
vampires
it's
and billionaires.
that's the way you're putting it. The dominating alpha male archetype. I think that's why. And then I think it really fed perfectly into 50 Shades of Grey
It did.
in like this ridiculousness. Like,
But the problem with that is I don't I really want to give Meyer the benefit of the doubt
mm-hmm,
that she wasn't trying to create the archetype for that.
mm-hmm.
She may have been. I don't know. I don't know her. It just doesn't seem right.
Why?
I don't know. Because I would hope she's somewhat self-respecting.
Well, I don't think she would do that on purpose. I don't think. I mean, I think most of the time when somebody's writing, they're really not doing it on purpose. They don't plan out the uh, they don't start out with the plan to do something like that. I think it just happens.
Yeah, but I don't know. You're writing to a certain audience, which was young adult at the time.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I start out to write something, I very much know what my message should be.
Yes,
I am,
but
and
it
I
doesn't
work around that.
right, but I don't think that it has to be a archetypes are so ingrained in our psyche that I don't think that the writing using them is all
Uh,
conscious. And I mean, like,
no, I'm not saying you
you
shouldn't
could
use
put
the
an
archetype.
archetype that she died for her child and they brought her back to life. I mean, there's like all kinds of other crazy crap in there, you know? I
Yeah,
mean,
there is, but the moral of the story is go with the bad boy. The bad boy is good.
so both the guys were bad.
Yes.
Both of them were terrible,
Yes.
controlling,
Yes.
amazingly narcissistic,
Uh-huh.
and
And the message was fall in love with both but pick one.
uh-huh. You know, I didn't absolutely hate the books. I didn't hate them. I did at least give them a chance and I read them. But by the end of it, I was like, what the hell am I reading?
Hmm.
What is this?
I'm not gonna lie, I ripped it apart in chapter one when the air was green. I'm like, this is bullshit. This book sucks. I did read them.
The air was green. I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, there was a description that everything was so green, even the air was green, and I'm like, oh my god, you what? The fuck is your description right now?
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hated the writing, I hated the premise, and I hated the
The writing
message.
was really terrible.
There was nothing
It was very
redeeming there.
bad. It
So
was, yeah.
I try now, even now, I go back and I'm like, what were you trying to say with vampires? And I think it. I want, like I said, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I think she cast away my doubt, and it's just like, no, she's stupid.
Yeah, you were just saying you wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt though. So, I
But
mean,
I did. There's nothing there though. There's no redemption. There's no redeeming qualities.
mm,
Like, what in the wildest imagination can you have that their vampires had a solid meaning behind them for some kind of good?
well, I think she wanted them to be able to go out in the sunlight, and that's why they sparkled, because there had to be some reason that they
Well,
wouldn't be out in direct sunlight.
I don't even mean that part. I mean, granted, you can get around the sunlight thing with other ways. The sparkling does make it worse. It does make them fairies. I don't care what anyone says. They were blood drinking fairies.
Okay.
You could have went with sunscreen and a lot of
True.
clothes.
Very true.
There's ways around the sun thing, but
Hmm.
I don't understand why she went with vampires to begin with. When you go to a vampire, you're doing it intentionally. At least I believe you are.
Hmm.
Previous cases, you know, there's always some sort of there's a reason to do it.
Hmm.
Interview with the vampire, you had the vampire side of the story,
Hmm.
which made it amazingly interesting dealing with things like not dying and watching the people you love continually fade away.
Hmm.
Interesting
Yeah.
message. Uh, you have, uh, I forgot, it was a movie. Might have been vampires, could be wrong. But they were tracing vampirism back to Judas and the betrayal.
Ah.
Like, God made Judas live again as punishment, and he was the first vampire.
Okay.
I,
That would be interesting.
I found that amazingly interesting that it was literally good versus evil.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
And then you get to Twilight. There's no message, there's no craft.
Well, it was not a brilliant work of fiction. It was just something that had appeal because it hit on a note that girls really liked.
Yeah,
They don't
it hit the
find it
archetype
freaking
correctly.
creepy that he watched her sleep. They don't find that creepy. They think, oh, that's so romantic. And you're like, what the hell is wrong with you? But there's a lot of things wrong with our current society. So, I mean, you don't have to dig deep for that one.
Well, see, that is the one thing I do like about Twilight. It held up an awful great mirror into some incredibly depressing insights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I probably couldn't stand to read them again, but it was like, yeah.
No, never
I
again.
mean, yeah, my kids like Percy Jackson, and
Mm,
that series is really cheesy and has fart jokes,
yeah,
and but it's not horrendously written. It's got some interesting stories and twists. It uses archetypes, it uses the Greek myths, so it's like one of those children's books that I could actually listen to a couple of times and be okay, but I couldn't with this one. It was
yeah.
once was done.
It's just
I
like
didn't know.
Artemis Fowl.
Oh, that was awesome. That one I could listen to 100 times and still laugh.
Exceptional storytelling going on there.
Oh my gosh, that man is brilliant. He makes me feel really freaking dumb.
Oh
It's
yeah,
amazing.
Ian Colfer,
hmm
I believe who it is.
I think it's actually Owen.
It is Owen. It's
Yeah,
Irish, and I can never do.
it's spelled like E-O-N, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Owen.
It's EOIN,
E-O-I-N.
but
Okay.
it's still Owen. But anyway, Owen Colfer.
Oh,
But
amazing.
if you
Anybody who has not listened to those or read them, you need to find them. The Artemis Fowl series.
not only that, you need to find the wish list.
His wish list.
The wish list by
What's the wish list?
Owen Colfer. It's one of his earlier
Oh, okay.
books.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it?
I think we started. Yes, I do. I think so. And I don't think we finished it. Why didn't we finish it?
You have to finish it.
I don't. Yeah, we're gonna have to finish it.
That's one of my favorite books. Just for listeners, I think it's a girl. It's been years since I've read this.
Mm-hmm.
But the main character dies.
Yes. Yes, we did start it. Sorry, keep going.
Right off the bat, main character dies.
Mm-hmm.
And heaven and hell have a balancing system, basically, of
Mm-hmm.
tallies on your life of what you've done, good or bad. And this person died with an exact neutral tally. So now, as a spirit, they must win favor or not to determine where they're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an amazing book.
Yeah, I really like that. We started it, and I think we got into a road trip. So we picked something else up because somebody else was in the car with us, and then I think we just didn't finish it. So
Yeah.
I'll have to go back to it. But yeah, off topic here. So yeah, back to vampires.
hmm Well, there was another little thing I caught in when I was refreshing on the Bram Stoker version.
Mm-hmm.
Stoker. Uh, Whenever Dracula went to England, he took Transylvanian soil with him for power.
Okay.
And I got this just weird. I was like, oh, you can hear this echoed today about people coming into other countries
Okay.
and changing the culture.
Mm.
Just that idea of bringing your own soil,
Mm-hmm.
which is,
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
yeah, taking your land with you, taking your
Mm-hmm.
culture with you,
Mm-hmm.
and then not changing once you're there.
Yeah.
I found it an interesting parallel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like people should lose their culture and whatever, but you have to kind of adapt to where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, keeping your culture is important because it gives you a sense of stability.
Keeping your culture is important, but changing the place you move to into your culture defeats the purpose of moving there.
Fair enough. There's a pocket of Hasidic Jews in New York, and they've completely changed the area around them. But all of them were born in America.
Yeah.
That's not it. They just have the entire landscape around them, not New York,
Mhm.
which I find really fascinating.
It is. I'm assuming, like, because there's what places like Chinatown that are
Hmm.
very similar to that idea,
Yeah.
where the first immigrants are who moved there and made it Chinatown, probably long gone.
Yeah, which is, well, I mean they do, but at the same time you still have a lot of immigrants who come in and start there.
Yeah.
This group in particular, they're all born there. They all have accents, they all speak Yiddish. They are not like assimilated into the culture at all.
Hmm.
They intentionally like keep themselves away from the culture. So, and they there is not even kind of anybody who's first generation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
fascinating.
It is, and it's
And the fact that they've held on to it is very impressive.
very true. I wonder where like the Amish fit into this.
Yeah, that's another one. I mean, but their culture was already there. People just moved in around them.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
that's why I was wondering which came first, the Amish or the culture.
the egg.
I don't know which. At this point, I want to say the Amish were there first.
I mean, they basically were.
Yeah.
They've been there for close to the founding.
Hmm.
So, yeah, they were there first.
So yeah, there's some good arguments against changing.
Hmm.
Well, let me rephrase that. There's some arguments against changing.
There are. Yeah, I mean, they're doing, and they adapted a little bit. Like you can go and get medical help if you need it.
Yeah.
So there's things that have been changed about that have benefited the communities, and they've not been so rigid.
Yeah, don't they have like a phone now? A lot of communities.
Hmm. Or they'll have them at the end of the road or whatever, so they
Yeah.
can reach a doctor if they need to.
Which is
Yeah.
a good thing.
Hmm. It is. Phones are good.
Let's see. Then you have.
Cell phones are vampires.
I think they are.
Uh-huh.
They
Speaking of phones,
suck
they're-
your attention away.
they do. It's absolutely it's like a black hole.
They are,
So.
or they can be. You can
Mhm.
use them responsibly. Social media, I hear that's a problem for some people.
Yeah.
I can't get into it. I'm old, I guess. I don't know.
No, I mean I can make it a problem if I let it be a problem. So I can get that one.
I can
I just
look.
get sucked into people's lives
I
or
don't.
get bored.
I don't.
No, well you wouldn't.
No. I can look into Twitter for about 30 minutes a week.
It's pretty impressive.
About my limit.
I can't even remember to check Twitter once a week. No, like I just like knowing about people and what they're doing and everything like that. But if I'm busy and working a lot, then I completely forget about social media. So yeah, it's just finding the.
If you want me to know what you're doing, text me.
There you go.
I'm not gonna go out of my way to look. Just that's not me.
Fair enough.
I've had more than a few people go, "Oh, did you see what I posted on Facebook?" And I'm like, "No, I
No.
didn't. Not at all."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Do you not know me yet?" That's never gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm all right. So go back to whatever you were saying because we're going to stay on topic this time.
Oh yeah.
Promise.
I don't even know what was I saying. We got a little too off topic.
Cell phones for vampires. I think you were going to go
Cell
back
phones
into
for
lore.
vampires? Lore. I think for lore, I think the vampires. I think cell phones are more demons than vampires.
Okay.
I think vampires are pretty exclusively human.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. On the lore aspects, a lot of it has changed, which we could dive into some of that symbolism. Garlic. I don't know that one, but the cross is interesting
Okay.
because you could tie it into. All right, a cross repels a vampire. A vampire being someone who sucks the life out of you. Therefore, religion protects you from people who are not great people.
That's an interesting thought because I don't actually agree with that.
I don't either. Not now. It might have then. Probably not then.
No. Yeah. I mean, it might have insulated you. Yeah, the church I go to is full of emotionally healthy and stable
Mm-hmm.
grounded people with good boundaries, because our pastor is pretty particular about not letting anyone else stay. He
Right.
will kick people out. Like, he's not afraid to do that. It's not that you have to be perfect or healthy or whole all of the time. You can be broken and hurting, but if you are sucking the life out of anybody, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if you don't repent. So
So he is your Van
keep in
Helsing.
mind, yes. Yes. I only have a vague reference of what you mean, but I know what you mean.
Right.
So, yeah, he is the gatekeeper, as it were, to make sure that the community stays healthy, which is something that I really appreciate that he does. And so, it's a good environment to be in. And I don't think that you have vampires in our no, you have vampires in our particular religious community because they slip through the cracks.
Mm.
But by and large, it's not that kind of environment. I have seen other areas where that is not the case. So people who are vampires might seek out an environment where there are people who are charitable and willing to give and might be a little naive and all that good stuff.
See, I would
So,
expand it out a little bit where instead of the cross being just religion, I think it would be a strong belief system at all. Because you see a lot of, especially like the more popular atheist community, you don't find many vampiric types in that kind of those people.
Why do you think that is?
That's what I was getting to. I think
Go ahead.
the strong belief in something, whether it's
Okay.
yourself or God or the universe, as long as you have something, some kind of self reliance, something you're sure of, I think you're less likely to be just preying on other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong, but that's my theory at
I,
least.
and I don't want to. I'm going to get myself in trouble, but this is the stereotype, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and I am willing to listen. If you are a Christian, or if you're a Christian, we'll go with this one, and then I'll expand on the other ones. You are in this potentially because you want to do good in the world and you want to go out and help people, and that kind of makes you a sucker. I think if you're Buddhist, you are more grounded because that's part of the faith. Like, that is their like thing, is finding like grounding. So you'd be less likely to put up with somebody's bullshit. And I don't know enough about Islam to comment on them, but the impression I get from atheists is they're not that they're not charitable, but that they just don't give a crap. It's not the same kind of thing. So every atheist I've ever met who is hardcore about it, it's not that they want to hurt people or that they wouldn't give to charities. It's that it's culture of giving incessantly that I've seen in Christians. Not that the Christian giving is always, angelic, because a lot of times, most of the time, it has strings attached. Like, I will give something to you, but only after you do X, Y, and Z for me. But so that's vampiric in itself. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was kind of how I thought of it.
No, I don't see it as that. The
Okay.
atheists I know are very giving, and they're just.
That's what I said.
Oh, it is.
They just don't have like. That is what I said. Yeah.
Oh,
But
you're cutting out
not
a
that
little
they
bit.
won't do that. Okay. It's not that they won't be giving. It's that they don't accept the bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
then what's the difference in the Christian giving and the atheist giving?
I think it's naivete.
I
That would
don't
be
know.
what I'd say.
I wouldn't call all Christians naive on their giving.
No, I don't think so either. I think, but maybe more of a, I have to help everybody because I have to convert everybody.
Mm.
So I'm willing to listen to everybody sort of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about this, so I'm kind of like working it out as I'm talking.
Right.
But again, Buddhists will, that's not what they do. It's not that they're trying to convert people.
Mm,
They're trying to find balance and harmony and meaning in life and all these other things, and
yeah.
it's just different.
Uh, from what I've read on Buddhism, which isn't a terrible amount,
Hmm.
but I am interested in it. I think once you balance yourself out, you're then able to try to help balance other people.
Right.
Hmm.
And I would say that maybe that's not as much of an emphasis in Christianity.
Yeah.
That's not even kind of an emphasis in Christianity.
Hmm.
Don't get your act together first before you try and help other people. Just send your broken self out and try and.
I was gonna say it probably should be.
It should be.
Y'all need to update
It
that.
yeah, it should be. I agree. An emphasis in our church is get your own act together,
Hmm.
and then then you can be helpful for other people. But anyway,
Yeah.
so that was just a.
It's kind of like the Peterson thing. I don't know if you've heard that one, where he's like, uh, all right, you want to go and change the world and help it in a big way.
Start by cleaning your room.
Yeah, is your room clean?
Yes.
No? Well,
Yeah.
if you can't do that, then what can you do for the world?
Exactly. Yep. For the record, my room is clean.
Yeah, mine's half clean.
You have an excuse since you had to tear it apart today.
Yep.
All right.
And
Stupid home repairs.
And now
Anyway.
the ignition is back off. It's so sad.
Yeah.
My first world problems.
It's, in Texas, it's not a first world problem.
True enough.
So, all right. So what else about vampires?
Let's see. On the symbolism, I don't know where to go from like the stake in the heart kills them, which I think literally is you need to kill your vampires. Don't go kill people.
No.
But seriously, if you have a vampire in your life, you need to stake that by cutting them out.
Well, I mean,
That's
okay, so
just
metaphorically.
a little personal advice. Yeah, yes, metaphorically. Cut. I think if you want to be happier, you should cut those people out.
Yeah. Didn't they have to cut their heads off or something when they buried them?
Yeah, there's a lot of different lore on the death of vampires.
Okay.
So you stake the heart, cut the head off, you might burn them. Holy water hurts them.
Yeah.
But holy water, we're just going back to the same topic we just visited.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. Hmm.
See,
A state's heart. So if the soul of if the vampire does not represent a literal person, and sometimes it does not.
Mm-hmm.
Although I agree with you that most of the time I think it does.
Yeah.
If you're
I don't
sticking.
think it was intended that way. I think it just came out that way.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think it was maybe an idea that morphed into what it really fit into. So, but if you're sticking a stake into something, into the soul of something, into the heart of it, you're trying to obliterate it and render it unable to come back.
Yes.
So.
Which is why I think it was an extreme way. Stake. Oh, we could go to the sunlight thing, which is one of the big problems I had. Again, Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
But sunlight hurting a vampire made so much sense.
It does make so much sense.
Because it's basically saying if you expose them for what they are, that hurts them. It can kill them.
Yeah, anything like that you bring out into the sun, it's not as scary. And I mean, in stupid examples, the scary monster in your room when you turn the light on is just, a robe hanging on the back of your door.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not scary once you really expose it to the light and take a good look at it.
Yeah. I like how we're going this on two different ways again.
We totally are. Well, we have different perspectives on this.
Yeah,
and different paths in life.
Well, I like these conversations because Because you immediately go to exposing something makes it not as frightful, and I go to exposing it hurts it. Going back to the people,
Yes.
if you expose the vampire for who they are, it hurts them because they can't do it to
Mhm.
other people around who know the truth.
That's true. So what about vampires as narcissists? Like
Mm,
legit narcissists. I mean, also sociopaths,
yeah.
but
I was going to say,
sometimes those go together.
is that a complete typical description of them? Maybe. I don't know if narcissist is the right word. Could be.
Narcissists, uh, see no problem with their behavior.
Hmm.
They
Well, that's
um
the other
are
thing is,
very self-centered. There's the yeah, it's like they're I mean, but if we go to a sociopath, and by that I do not necessarily mean a violent psychopathic killer.
hmm
I just mean somebody who has no feelings
yeah.
and enjoys sponging off people. Um, so if we go there, then the thing about them not being able to see their reflection,
Hmm.
I think that would be interesting. Because
The
a narcissist does not see who they really are,
yeah.
ever. So they can't see themselves. And I think a sociopath does. So that wouldn't fit as well. I think a sociopath knows what they are and just does not care.
Hmm.
But narcissists can't.
Okay.
So,
That would be really interesting to play that out
hmm?
because it would be very much. I like the reflection part, is what I'm getting at,
Mm-hmm.
especially on
Yeah.
a psychology level.
Yeah. I again, I haven't really thought this through, but
Hmm.
that would be, yeah, when you have a sociopath that they know that they are different and they absolutely know that they don't fit into the mold and they just work until they work a person until they can't work them anymore and then they move on.
Hmm.
So in that way they're being exposed in the light and
Yeah.
anybody around them who sees it is like, ha, get away from me. um, but a narcissist is never going to see it.
No.
So,
Fair enough. And then I do like the less symbolic meanings of vampires,
hmm
where it's this idea of humans are the apex animal, basically.
mm,
And then you introduce vampires, which are,
they're certainly not.
yeah, and all of a sudden humans are prey, very
Yeah?
exclusively prey.
hmm
And there's something appealing of that. Because a lot of, especially when you go into like adolescents and kids who like vampires, it's more about the powers and things to affect
hmm
being different, being better.
hmm
I can see the appeal of that,
hmm
which is why I like, again,
Yeah?
Interview with a Vampire. It's like, yeah, but drinking blood and only blood kind of sucks.
Yeah. It kind of does, yeah.
Well, it's like the very first
Yeah.
part of that. It's
I
like,
feel like my diet's already restricted. That would just be terrible.
yeah. Well, I always go back to the scene where it's like, he doesn't want to kill people, so he's drinking off of rats in the sewer.
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten about that. Thank you for that.
Quite welcome. It's a good scene,
Ugh. hmm
and it knocks down the narcissism part, where it's like,
It's true, it does.
but then as he grows as a character, he grows to not care as much, and it's the aspect of losing humanity in order to gain something that you think you desire.
hmm
I think that's a really good message to play with as well.
Yeah, I, oh, I wish I'd thought of all this beforehand. Yeah, I mean, well, in a lot of ways, you know, as you age and lose things that you love, you might just, I don't know. My whole goal in life is to be that crazy aunt who's like 95 and saying absolutely everything that's inappropriate.
Hmm.
and not like the racial slurs that I might hear out of relatives, like
Yeah.
other things like that. So, I mean, you reach an age where you just don't give a crap. And I
Hmm.
think if you are like 400 or something, you probably have reached that age.
Yeah, I think so.
And you just don't care because you can't keep making attachments and having your heart broken.
Hmm.
And if the vampires are not alive, or are they alive? Are they dead? Do they
That's
actually have human feelings?
See, that's another really good question to dive into because they need blood to live,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to stab them in the heart to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. And they need blood from the living, not blood from the dead, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that I think it started exclusively you needed blood of humans, and then it slowly became just blood of the living.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of rules of,
Well, they
uh,
had to evolve,
yeah,
because evolution isn't just for humans.
very true. Well, they also had the bite turns people, and then you had no, they have to drink the vampire's blood in order to turn.
Yeah, well, and I liked the symbolism of that because it's not that the bite was going to make you. You had to make the choice to do this.
Yes.
You had to choose to make this happen,
Hmm.
which I found very, that was interesting.
And I'm pretty sure the original novel had you had to drink from the vampire. And not, and
Mm.
it wasn't because as soon as you turn it into the bite turns you into a vampire, that makes it more like a disease allegory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a zombieism or whatever.
Like yeah, like zombieism, like and don't worry, zombies have made the list of these topics.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there was something like, oh, I just had a thought and it went away in my head. Where did it go?
It's never good.
No. So you had to think about the turning of them.
You cut out.
Stupid USB thing. Um, yeah, it's something about the turning. I'm not gonna remember it, so it's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm
I'll,
just. I
I'll
do.
remember it later.
I do like the idea of
Yep.
turning, where it's not exclusively you're a vampire and only a vampire. They were all once
Mhm.
human,
Mhm.
which makes it you want to sympathize, then you can't, and then you want the power, but then you're like, it's a great cost benefit
Mhm.
when thinking about these kind of things.
That's true. Yeah, it's driving me nuts. I can't remember what it was that I was going to say. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so the people having to choose to end their humanity
Hmm.
is is it's interesting. You have to make that choice, and they could enthrall you. That was another thing.
Hmm.
Like narcissists, like other people who are sucking things out of your life, they first lull you in and trap you.
Hmm. It's all charm.
Abusive spouses do the same thing.
Yes.
That's it's a they manipulate you so that they can put a little work into the beginning, so they take a lot out of you at the end.
Hmm.
Maybe so much that you don't ever send them packing. So.
Which goes back to the message of Twilight. Sorry, I had to throw in another jab. It's just
I
too.
know.
It's fun.
I mean, yeah, I did not read 50 Shades of Grey because I just could not.
It's the same damn book,
No.
just with
Yeah, I
BDSM and not good BDSM.
no, just abuse.
Yeah.
So the passages I read, I was like, good Lord,
I,
why?
di-
Why?
I didn't read it either. I read some excerpts for the just for the lulls. If you want 50 Shades of Grey, by all means, look up Gilbert Godfrey Reed's 50 Shades of Grey.
He reads it.
He doesn't read it all. He reads certain passages, and it is gold.
Oh. I could just imagine his voice reading that book.
It is tremendous. I will link you later.
Okay, sounds good.
And then someone else read excerpts. Oh, it's oh my god, I can't remember his name. George Takei.
I don't know who he is.
Uh Star Trek guy. He's famous now for saying "Oh my." Oh my.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Nope, no
Okay.
idea.
Fair enough. Well, he read it too, and he ends each sentence. It's pretty good too. Gilbert Godfrey was better, but it's still good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I don't know what she was thinking.
Well,
I
maybe it
really
was the
don't.
narcissism and the. I want.
I
I,
think that the alpha male thing is not underrated. I think that that's really appealing to women because they just don't, you know, there's such an emphasis on men not being like that now, and women insisting that their boys be gentle and always loving and kind, and boys are not like that. You know,
no.
I mean, you can have, but you can have a kid who doesn't unnecessarily hit people and, you know, is not just a jerk. But they are, you know, they want to go out and, you know, take hostages and
Hmm.
play war games, and they just do. Even my very unathletic, sweet kid who is an uber nerd still planned out major strategic battles in which he took our neighbor's 4-year-old daughter hostage
Hmm.
because I insisted that he had to include her, and he told me that she was collateral damage and had no other useful functions.
Correct.
And I was like, really? You are like, he was like 9 at the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
and that is what he said to me. And it's like, I can't even with you right now. But oh my gosh. She's the only girl though, so I'm like, you have to include her. You can't just keep her out. And so
Yeah.
he included her. She
Hmm.
didn't seem to mind that she was the hostage, which I think is also telling.
Hmm.
But then again, she was only 4, so.
Yes, but I don't know. Archetypes exist for a reason,
They do.
and
Mhm.
I I do like how we're speaking of Twilight in this example, but that was for like the generation before the one that's now who are like no alphas and
Yeah.
don't do this, and then you read the same from the same publication. There's no good men around. Like you think.
Right. That's true. Well, and also you think of a man having to be good means that he has to be more effeminate
Hmm.
in order to be good. But my message I received as a child was that being feminine was not good. And I never like that was the message I internalized, and it was like this is weird, but whatever. You know, and I sort of just went along with it and was
Oh,
whatever I thought I was supposed to be, and
that
it never fit.
that's a
And
really
I'm
great conflicting message that I've
yes.
never thought about before.
Yes, it's just it drives me crazy. Like men are not supposed to be men, but women are not supposed to be women.
Hmm.
You're all supposed to be this amalgamation of mm, somewhere center left in the feminine side. Or, you know, it was bizarre, but
Yeah.
whatever. So, like, when I finally just stopped fighting with myself, I am not a girly girl. I literally do not own any makeup.
Hmm.
None. I have chapstick. That's as good as it gets. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you have chapstick too.
I don't.
Like,
I live in
well,
Texas.
okay.
It's wet.
Okay, fair enough. In the winters, it gets really dry here. So,
Yeah, some winters
I
I
don't
have
have a
chapstick, but
curling
not all.
iron. I forget to brush my hair on a regular basis because my hair is so long, thick, and straight and heavy. It doesn't need to be brushed all the time. I am not girly. I don't
Hmm.
dress up, nothing. But I chose the jobs of raising my kids, being an author, and a seamstress.
Yes.
When finally left to my own devices, that's what I picked.
Hmm.
And I am so happy doing it. This is great. This is
Yeah.
what I want to do. I got a freaking nomination to West Point. I could have gone to West Point, and I didn't go because I wasn't entirely sure, but
Hmm.
that was how hardcore I was about all of this stuff.
Damn.
So, I really see the contradictions, and it's not like my story is representative of everybody or whatever, but that was what it felt like to me.
Right.
That if there were some girls who embraced being completely girly, and if you were not in that specific archetype, but in that specific subset, you needed to go into science, go into math, go into engineering. I was going to be an accountant. It's like, holy crap, I can't be an accountant. I don't even want to deal with my own retirement account, which I didn't want. My husband made me sign up for.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Why did I think that was a good idea?
I don't know. I will link that back to
Exactly.
vampirism
So,
though, because
okay, go
y-
for it.
you get that idea of it's a choice for a human to become a vampire,
Mhm.
and in doing so, you're basically joining this crowd of sameness where
Mhm.
everyone drinks blood. You have
Mhm.
to live, and that's all you can drink. You can't have all the delicious food in the world.
Mhm.
Everyone sleeps in a coffin because there no sun can get in.
Mhm.
Everyone. It's all the same. No one sees their reflection. There's very little divergence within joining this clique, basically, where
Yikes.
you get to think you're better than everyone because you feed on them. When
I
really,
see. I see where you're going with that.
hmm.
Oh my gosh. Yes, everybody has to be the same.
Hmm. And if you're not, then
Oh,
you're cast away and you're nothing. You're food, blah, blah,
they're
blah.
killed.
Hmm.
You're just killed.
Yeah,
If you aren't going to join the program, you're going to be eaten and destroyed.
yes. Oh, have you? This is completely off topic of where I was going.
Go for it.
But there was a movie. Now I can't remember what the movie was.
Okay.
FML. I was going to see if
Yeah.
you'd seen it. Note to self cut out typing.
Okay.
Let's see. I know this is a dumb question to ask because I half know the answer.
Have I seen the movie?
Hmm.
No, probably not.
Yeah, it's just a bad start to a question.
Hmm.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Oh, what did I click? Why did it? No. Stupid Google. Google hates me. Did you know
Hmm.
that?
It does get you. Steve warned them about you.
Mm-hmm. Mm, I'm not gonna find this. It's gonna irk me now.
What's the movie about?
It's about vampires who basically, I think their bite turned people or something to that effect because or they just overfed and it was, all the cities and society was run by vampires and the humans were just dwindling in number. So
Mm.
it became this problem of where the fuck do we get blood now? And they were like trying to grow humans in labs as actual cattle.
Oh God.
It was a really great movie. But
That sounds amazing.
yeah, it's so good.
I don't think I've seen anything like that, but I can picture it just from your description. So there
Yeah.
you go.
So if I ever figure out what it's called, I will let you know because it's really good. And now I want to rewatch it.
Sounds good.
But yeah, back to the other point. I do like the
Hmm.
idea of the vampire in group and out grouping. Daybreakers is the movie, and you cut out.
I completely missed everything you
Yeah,
just said.
I just heard you keep. So, Daybreakers is the movie.
Okay.
Really good movie, and I do like the idea of vampires as in group out grouping
Hmm.
because that really fits quite a few narratives here lately.
It does. Sadly true.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that because that's a political topic and I'm too tired to go there.
Fair enough.
Oh.
I was gonna say because I was thinking of this earlier, and I had a ton of examples of political topics to go into this, and now
Hmm.
that we're here, I'm just like, nah. I,
No.
I don't
We
want
can
this to
leave it
be
alone and
another
let people
2 hour
come to
one.
their
Hmm.
own conclusions.
Yes, which I think that's really the fun of thinking in the symbolism,
Hmm.
metaphors, uh, all of that good
Yep,
stuff. Because
I agree.
you start to see things in better, new, and worse lights.
Hmm. Sadly true.
Yeah, but it's good to have.
All right. Anything else? I know. Anything else on vampires?
No, I think we've covered enough of vampires for this week.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So,
I've creeped out enough as
oh,
it is.
fair. Well, it's October, so I'll just give
And
the
not about the
teaser.
vampires. It's not the vampires.
Oh, it's just everything attached to
It's
them.
the implications.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I'll just go ahead and give the teaser for next week. Next week's will be werewolves because why not?
Because we can continue our bashing of Twilight,
That
which is always good fun.
it is. It's great filler
Uh-huh.
and good fun, and it makes you a better writer.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
That's totally what I was worried about.
Oh yeah. But with that, we'll see you
Oh
next
my
week.
gosh. All right, bye.
Later.